Alright, let's work on some eyes. So I've got all my colors out on my palette. I'm going to be going for an overall yellowish look. So I got some cadmium yellow light and medium here. Some white if I need to brighten up anything. And I've got some cadmium orange because I think that might be fun to use with some of the raw sienna for some tinting and coloring. And then I've got some greens for accents. There's green yellowish, olive green, viridian green, and turquoise. I do like my turquoise. And then we'll see if I use some of this Prussian blue in the eye or not. I think I'd like to mix some of it with some white for some highlights. And some black. These are all Lucas Studio oils that I used for teaching my classes here in the studio. All right, let's see, Mr. Tiger. I've named her Amani. See if you can figure out what that name means. So I'm going to start with my lightest colors. So I'm going to start with my yellow. The brush I'm using is a mini brush. As you can see, the handle's really short. This is a 10-0 angle brush. So it's just nice for in tiny areas. I'll probably use the same brush for the whole thing. And let's start with some of this bright yellow along the edge here. I'm going to use the black base coat that I have on my canvas. It's a black acrylic base coat, by the way. I'm going to use that black acrylic canvas to act as a natural shadow for where the eye goes into the head. As I'm putting this color on, I want to have some areas that are subtle and some like these that just kind of pop a little bit. So that'll give me two different values of color. Ooh, that was a good popper. So I've got a dark, a medium, and a light. I like it. So let's do the same thing over on the other side while I've got that color in my brush. So I just take a second to think about where I might want it. Now that I've got my line drawing done, it's pretty much like color by numbers. Pretty much. So let's get a couple of brighter spots in there. That one's talking to me. Oh yeah, that looks good. And then back here is already setting the scene for me to just come back in and pop that out a bit. So this is my first coat on the eyes. I might come back and tweak them. You never know. They might stay the same. Now where the color goes up closer to the head, I'm just going to come in with a brush. I've wiped out my brush already on my paper towel. And I'm just going to blend this in so it fades up. So it looks like it's going into a natural shadow. It's got a little bit of color there, but it's just fading on up. I can do that to this side too. And you can see his eye already take some shape. So then let's come in with some of that cadmium yellow light. So I'm taking some cadmium yellow light. Just going to wipe off my brush and take some white. Usually I want to load with my lighter color first and then pull in my darker color. Now I'm looking for a highlight color to that. So maybe a little bit lighter. I'll mix it off to the side so I can see what my first color looks like. And see which one I want to go with. I think I'm going to go with this one that's a little bit darker. And I'm just going to put that down a little bit lower here. And I'm just tapping it in, trying to cover up the canvas. And I'm trying not to overlap the colors. So the cadmium yellow that I've already put down before, I'm trying not to go on top of it. With this new color, I'm just trying to either go beside it or in between it. And then let's do the other side. So I'm just mixing up a little more color here. I'm liking how that's looking. I can just tell because it just feels good. It just feels good. And then sometimes you can't tell if it's good or not. Sometimes you just have to get it, like paint it, and then hang it on your wall for a couple of days and see what you think. See if you want to come back and tweak it at all. Excuse me. Okay, I like that. So I'm just wiping out my brush, and I'm going to come in with some of the cadmium yellow medium now. And I'm going to put that cadmium yellow medium over here. These are just such a nice combo color for eyes. The cadmium yellow, light and medium. I'm going to come all the way out to my graphite line. That's these lines that I've already put on here with graphite paper. I transferred them on using graphite paper from my original drawing that is on transparencies. And I'm going to just make this pop a little bit more. It might take a second coat because yellows are hard to cover. That's not too bad. I don't want the paint on here thick either. I just want a nice, relatively thin coat. I'm going to have the color stop here, and then I'm going to come over onto the other side of his eye and pop a little bit here. I don't want to carry it all the way along just so it doesn't look too uniform. I like it to look a little bit funky. And then I can even bring some of that up in here. And then have it fade out over here. Now let's do that to the other side. So I gotta watch that I don't have too much paint on my brush. If my paintbrush looks like this, I'll show you. If it looks really blobby, see how blobby that is? That's too much paint. You're gonna get ridges in your work. Sometimes you might want that, but in this case, I just want it pretty smooth. So I'm gonna come in now and fill in the space between the graphite line and the color that I already put down. And I'm gonna paint on top of my graphite line out here. Yeah, buddy, I like it. I like it. I'm trying to keep my shape as circular as I can now that I'm getting closer to the edge. Excuse me, but I don't have to worry too much like if I get color out here because I'm going to be coming in with black anyway. Or you can see like what I just did there. I had an empty brush and just kind of scoop the color along to reshape it and take out that little triangle. And I'm going to just fade this up. All right. So again, I'm still putting my colors all side by side and not on top of each other. So let's keep working on the left eye. I'm going to take some of the cadmium yellow here. And I'm going to lighten it up a little bit with some white. So I'll just wipe out my brush on my paper towel. Bring in some white. Not too much at a time. Nice, I like it. Let's use some of that over here. Excuse me. Get a little more of that. And then some that's even a little bit whiter. Right in there. And we'll put some in there. I'm not filling it all quite in because I know I want to come in there with some green after. This one's getting just a little bit misshapen on the outside, but it's a hard angle to paint with the camera in the way, but it's no big deal because I can come in later with some color on the outside here and reshape it. Okay, I think that's good for now for my yellows. So let's come in with some green. I'm going to come in with some of this greenish yellow. And I'm going to mix it with some of this cadmium yellow light. Wipe out my brush, get some more cad yellow light. Mix that in. Let's get a nice bright greeny yellow. That looks good. Let's try that guy. So he's going to go in over here. in this little opening. Nice, I like it. I'm going to mix up a little bit more. And we can put some right up in here. I'm just softening the edges of that and joining it up to the other color around there. And then let's do something like that on the other side. A little bit of burnt sienna in here. So when my brush goes out of camera, I'm just wiping it off on my paper towel. So I clean it out because it's got any color that my brush goes on top of, it's going to pick up some of that color. So now that I've filled in all this area with the colors side by side, I can come in and start to kind of blend where the colors meet. I'm still leaving my space in here for more green, and that'll be my black pupil. So let's take some olive green. And I'm just kind of pinwheeling that around. And what I mean by that is, say this is my iris. No, pardon me, my pupil. I'm just coming in, and as if my lines are coming right from the middle of that pupil. I'm doing little lines like this that kind of come out and fade around, just to give them a little bit of detail in there. Keep in mind, I'll probably come back on top of this. I usually do. I may not, but it depends what Amani wants. I will do. Get a little darker up at the top here. And I'm going to take some turquoise and pop it in there. Because this canvas is 3 feet by 3 feet, you can really get up close to see the details when it's hanging on your wall. So this looks good down here. I'm going to come in and blend that out a little bit more too. And then up at the top, let's see. Let's put in the iris. So I'm just doing circle shapes. Lovely. And then I'm just going to slightly tap. I've wiped out my brush, and I'm just going to tap on the edge of that iris so that the black color comes out into the green a bit and diffuses the edge of the black iris, so it's not a strong, sharp line. And then I can just blend that up out here. Let's put a little bit of Prussian blue up in here. And then let's blend, do some blending. So I keep I keep wiping out my brush every few strokes. If I don't want these little pinwheel strokes to be too long and reaching the edge here, I can just stroke back into them, and that will shorten them. It's funny, you do eyes, but every time you do them, they'd be different. Because these don't look like any other tiger eyes I painted. Which is not a bad thing, because this little baby, Yamani, she is her own queen. Okay, so I like that. So later on when this is dry, I'll come back and I'll put the shadow coming down here, and I'll put a highlight in here. I'll see if I can put a little bit of shine highlight in. It's always nice to get the white or like a light shine highlight in, because then they really look like they're looking at you. So I just want to come in with some more of that bright yellow. That is singing to me. And let's put some of the cadmium yellow medium a little bit more over here. Oh, liking it. A little bit cadmium yellow light down here. And I'm almost going to call that a day. Later when this is dry, I'm going to do like a little highlight line through here with little pinwheels coming up. I'll show you that on another video. So you can see the difference between the two. But then when you get back farther, it's just like, ooh la la. It is ooh la la. Okay, let's paint the right eye. Or the eye on the right side. Let's see, what do I want to do on there next? Eye now. I'm going to take some of the olive green and pop it in here beside these colors. And let that olive green fade up. I'm going to bring it around my pupil and underneath my pupil and do a few of those little lines. You want to try and get them as straight as you can. And always coming from the center. Center straight out. Center straight out. Just like you would picture like a wagon wheel. Not the cookie, but an actual wagon wheel. And, oh, how about we put a little more turquoise on this guy, on this side. I love me some turquoise. I can't get enough of turquoise. Turquoise, purple, pink. Oh, yeah. Remember, it's your painting. You can do whatever you want to do for coloring. I like that. A little more of the darker green below Mr. Turquoise. And then with an empty brush, I'm just going to blend where these two colors, or where these colors meet. Underneath my iris there. Then let's come in with some black and paint in the iris. So I just do a small circle in the middle, and then I just keep spiraling out. Bigger circle, bigger circle, bigger circle. Perfect. Then empty brush, and then I'm just going to come around and just tap the edge of that so that it's a little more faded and not as strong an outer edge. And then I'm going to come in with some burnt sienna mixed with white. I want some of that over there. Ooh, I got to watch. My brush has got a lot of paint on it. Very ridgy. You want much less paint, and I prefer not to get the paint on the ferrule. That's that metal thing on the end that holds your bristles. I try not to let it get up the ferrule, because once it starts getting up the ferrule, then you have to spend more time later cleaning out, and I'd rather be painting. So I try and keep it from going up there. It's a little bit bright up here, so let's tap some of that out. Excuse me, but no worries, because I'll be coming in and putting in a shadow up there later, so. And I think I'd like some more of that nice green yellowish, that nice bright green. Mixed with cadmium yellow. Yep, I like that. Let's pull some lines down with this color. It's from the middle out. Middle out. And I'm not wiping off in between each stroke because I want my brush to pick up all those colors and put it back down. Then I'll come back in with my black and redo my iris. Naturally, I'm trying to keep my irises about the same size on each side. And then I'm going to do this side, fade it out, and then I'll fade out above these little wagon wheels. And then I'm going to pull some of that black down on one side of each of these wagon wheels, just to help them stand out even more. This side's almost done. I just got a little bit more blending to do, so I'm just wiping out my brush. Let's blend this color over here. So what I'll do when I'm finished blending is I'll hang Amani back up on my wall. And every time I walk by her, I'll see what instructions she gives me for what to do next. I'm so excited to be doing the fur though. Oh, I can't wait. And we'll see if these eyes are done. So I got a little bit of cleaning up with the shape to do later. That's okay. Easy to do. Actually, I can do it right now with some black. Let's do that. So I'm just going to take some black. And I can just paint over this little part here. And down here. Wipe out my brush. Get some more black. Because remember, every time your brush goes into another color, it's going to pick some of that color up. Wipe out my brush. Oh, I like the way that kind of has that little kink there. Almost like he's squinting or something. That looks good. Maybe a little bit on the other side. Just because I can. I like to get out those skipping marks, you know, that you see on canvases where the color just kind of bumps over the top of the fabric bumps of the canvas. This is an awkward angle. Usually I'd be painting like this, but you wouldn't be able to see. Okay, a little bit more up here so that doesn't bug me. It's coming outward. Perfect. And maybe a little bit more on this guy here so it's not coming outward. Let's just soften that a little. Perfect. Let's soften you a little. Okie dokie. Okie dokie smoky. Maybe a little more softened over here because it's going so well. Alright. I don't want to push it too much because it's really wet and malleable, so I want that color to dry. The Luka Studio oils, it's really nice because they set up in like, because this is really thin, it'll be dry in like 2 days and I can come back and work on it. Now let's soften up some of these little wagon wheels a bit. That's a nice one. We'll put in a couple more. Ooh, that was a good one. Soften that out. Excuse me. Let's see what else. I think there was something else I was going to do. Let me see if it comes to mind while I put her. A little more cadmium yellow light. Nice bright yellow. Kind of packing it on a bit so it's really going to stand out. Put it on top. Oh, that looks really nice on top of that cadmium orange. Oh, that's what I wanted to do. I want to put the shine dye in. Because that just... it's going to really bring them to life. So I'm going to take some white. So again, ideally you want to start with your lighter color when you're mixing colors. Let's get my brush wiped out a bit more. So to wipe out my brush, I just put it between paper towel and pinch. So I don't want to bend the bristles, but keep them flat. Pinch with my left hand, and then just wiggle gently with my right. Not in a fashion where I'm going to be like pulling out the bristles, but just gently. So I'm going to take some white, and then I'm going to take some Prussian blue. This is going to be the color underneath my white highlight. I want my white highlight to have something underneath it, so it's not just such a jump from the black of the iris, or black of the iris, to the white shined up. Alright, where do we want this guy? Let's go in right here. Oh yeah. And I gotta wipe off my brush because it'll be picking up that black. So pinch, pinch, pinch. Get some more of that blue. Now I've got just a little bit more white in it. That's it. 2 taps, that's all I need. And then I'll come in with some white. Just straight up white that's slightly tinted with the blue. And let's see where I want, maybe like right about there. wider at the top and a bit narrow at the bottom. Oh, looks like somebody dancing. Perfect. Okay, let's do the other side. So Prussian blue plus white. Let's see, where do I want them? Yeah, let's go over here. And let's maybe have this one kind of angle in like a triangle. So wider on the left, narrower on the right. Now a lighter blue on top of that along the bottom. That looks good. And now I'm going to come in with some straight up white. And, oh, a little blobby. Oh, still a little blobby. There we go. Oh yeah. Cool. I'm happy with that. That's a good start. Anywho. So let's go hang her on the wall and see how she looks. Hello, baby. Looking good. All right, stay tuned until next time.